What's up, everyone? This is Devin, and we're taking second try at this. This is going to be UFC 275, my picks for the preliminary card and main card tonight. I only have like 2 bets going right now. I'll kind of tell you who I'm leaning towards on everyone, just so that way you kind of have where I'm going. And right now, most of these fighters, I'll be honest, I don't know too much about. I'm mainly going off record and how they looked at weigh-in. Normally, I would do a little bit more research, and I guess I could pull up a little bit of facts to help me understand a little bit more and see kind of how it's going to break down. So that way I can maybe give a little bit more insight on what's going to happen tonight. But really, this is a straight up fan, pick, basically. I'm slowly getting back into UFC. This has kind of been the first year back in, it's probably been 10 years since I really focused on UFC. So I'm still learning a lot of the fighters. That's why I probably don't know half of them. And that's, I guess, kind of the thing. I got a paper here and a couple papers, so we'll kind of run through and see my thoughts, my picks. I'll kind of try to pull up some stats, see if I can get a breakdown. All right, we'll go prelims. I'm not touching the early pre's because I looked at those. I don't know any of them. So we'll start right off with the featherweight bout. Currently sitting, it's Sangwoo Chow versus Josh Coble. Chow is 10-4 versus Josh is 9-1-1. Last fight, Josh won on a loss for Chow. Chow is South Korea versus Australian, 6 foot versus 5'10". Weights are, obviously about the same. And 74.5, so reach advantage to Chow. Just looking at the height and looking at how it's going to go, or like thinking how it's going to go, I'm leaning towards Chow on this one to take it. He's also a favorite. Current odds, at least when I checked on DraftKings earlier, Chow is favored at minus 235 over plus 190. I would say both guys most of their fights have been more knockouts or decisions, so I don't see a submission happening really here. That'd be one thing. And then average fight time and a little bit shorter, so I say Chow knockout or decision win. I don't see it, like I said, don't see a submission happening at all. Personally, I think, yeah. And then defensively, they're both better at defense, and it's not very that great at actual takedowns. Power shots and strikes landed. Josh is a little bit better, apparently, for the fights like that. I mean, I guess Chow has more landed per minute, but significant strikes goes to Josh. So defense goes to Josh. So I would say my thought, Chow, knockout. He's going to land more punches. Knockout, 3rd round. Otherwise, I better write this down too. So since I'm calling it, I'll write it down. KO round 3. Wouldn't surprise me if it goes to decision, but right now I'm taking Chow to KO in round 3. And I apologize if I'm saying names wrong. I'm tell you right now, I can't even say the main event. And so we'll move on to Steve Garcia versus Mahacinta. I don't know. Again, I don't know how to say it. So this is Hazar Manacia's. I can't say names. I just can't. So, dude's first fight. So I have no really knowledge about him versus Steve Garcia. Steve looks a little bit bigger. Now, let's see. Definitely. Yeah, he lands more punches, more significant strikes. I know it's the other guy's debut, so it won't be as much. He has a lot more on the line, but I think the nerves are going to get to him a little bit being first one. I say Steve KO. And I won't even put a round on it. It could happen in any round. I won't be picking, but I'd say win by KO or TKO. One of the two. So that's my thought on the second fight here. And let's see. Andre Fafula versus Jake Matthews. Jake lost his last fight. Andre won. Weigh-ins, I gotta say, Andre didn't look quite as cut as what he looks like on his profile picture online here. Reach advantage does go to Andre. KO goes to Andre. Man. Let's see. All right. I think the first time around, I said Jake, but after reviewing the tail of the tape here between these two, I'm switching over to the favorite, Andre. He has a 1-inch reach advantage, a little bit shorter, so I guess the only thing I could see Jake doing if he came in with the game plan of, using leg kicks is to try to keep Andre a little bit away. He has that advantage there, or keep him at a distance. I mean, I know he won't be able to hit with punches as much, but so we'll see what happens overall. But Andre, and I say it ends up being a decision. I don't think he gets finished. And last one of the prelims are Brendan Allen versus Jacob Mokon. I think that's how you say his name. Both fighters won their last fights. Brendan's a U.S. versus an Australian. Brendan's 6'2" versus 5'9", and this is for middleweight. Reach goes to Brendan, and everything's looking. I mean, more KOs for Jacob. Yeah. Brendan's just an all-around decent fighter. 28 KOs, TKOs, 56% of his submission. Average fight times are only 8 minutes. Knockdown average, perfect. 3-round fight, he almost averages 6.2 or 0.62, so one at least almost every fight. He hits pretty hard or lands a lot of punches. Hits fairly decent. They're about even on that. A little bit goes to Jacob on that. Absorb, Brendan's got a little bit better on that. Grappling. Surprisingly, the takedown average goes over to Jacob. Takedown accuracy, slight advantage to Jacob, 33 versus 35. Takedown defense, 50%. Doesn't have a number for Jacob. Brendan is 50%. Submissions are 1.66 to 0.99. So I lean towards decision, Brendan. So, all right, we'll move on to main event card lineup. I'm kind of sad to see that Whitaker did not make this card. Injury canceled that fight, I believe they said. So we'll look at Jake Della versus Ramazan. And so Australian versus Russian. Reach advantage goes to Russian. Record. Personally, most of the fights. So Jake has won most of his fights by knockouts. And then the other Russian, I'm not going to say his name anymore because I can't say it. He's looking at some decisions as his biggest win. So I am going to take Jack at KO or TKO. Not giving a round. Again, I'll tell you when I'm taking a bet. I haven't taken one of these actual bets yet. I'm just writing down. I want to see how I do with the actual fights tomorrow. Then moving on, next fight on the lineup. Rogero Bantora versus Manuel Cape, I think is how you say their name. Again, I'm probably just completely destroying names. Why am I not finding it? I wonder if they got canceled. I am not seeing them, and it looks like the Andre versus Jake Matthews have been moved to the main card. So yeah, maybe they're not fighting anymore. I'll have to look. Let's go back. Yep, that must have not happening anymore. So we'll skip that one then. I won't choose a fighter in that. I was leaning towards Cape. So we'll move on to Zhang Wei versus Joanna. Reach advantage goes to Joanna on this. Zhang coming off a loss. Height advantage over to Joanna. Little bit of leg difference by 1 inch over to Zhang. Joanna has had more of her fights go to decision. She lands a little bit more punches, a little bit stronger. I don't know, for some reason, something's telling me as long as she can keep this on her feet, that I take Joanna, and I'm taking her. We're going to go decision. As long as she can keep it on her feet. So hopefully she's worked on her. Now I know Zhang Weila is the number 2 for the women strawweight class, but she just lost. I believe I can't remember if she fought for title or not. I'm assuming she probably fought the number 1 contender. I'm still surprised she's sitting at number 2 with the loss. But so next fight is one that is for a belt. It's the co-main event of the night. Valentina, I'm not going to try to say her last name, versus Talia. Talia's from Brazil. Kazakhstan, I believe is how you say that for Valentina. They're both coming off wins. Reach advantage goes to Talia. Pretty much even with legs. More KOs for... So Valentina's pretty well-rounded, like, altogether. She's, had 32% of her fights decisions, 32% submissions, and 36% KO or TKO. Talia is looking at 53% KO versus 16% submissions and 32% decisions. Knockdowns. So I'm going to say surprisingly striking, significant strikes landed per minute, 3.21 versus 3.71. So they're fairly close on that. Significant strikes, 52% Valentina versus Talia's 50%. Absorbed per minute, 1.87 versus 2.23. Talia takes that. And defense is pretty even as well, 64% versus 63%. And then grappling, takedown, slight advantage to Valentina, 2.62 versus 2.44. 64% takedown accuracy versus 86% takedown accuracy. Takedown defense, 77% versus 88%. So Talia, as much as she don't have as high of a takedown average, she's a little bit heavier hand, apparently. And, man, I'm taking Valentina, win by decision. But I think for the fun of it, I might throw a little bit on Talia as kind of like a lottery pick. Just because I was so high on Amanda Nunes when she fought Pena, and we all know what happened in that if you watch the fight. Right, so, and then I think at one point you could have got for like plus 600. So, throw $10, you win 45 if Talia wins. And if not, hopefully place your money somewhere elsewhere so you can break even on the night. Right. So now we'll go into main event. Main event, we're looking at Glover versus Hora. I think is how you say his name, first name. I'm not gonna try to do last name. And so currently Glover holds the belt. Hora's number 2 contender. Or personally, I think he's the number 1 contender for this light heavyweight. He has the reach advantage. I don't know, just everything about his game. Just to me, I like him to win this. I'd be surprised. Happy to see that he cut his bun down a little bit. It was getting kind of long there, and they were even saying that he said it like swung around one time and hit him in the face. And that's what made him cut it. So, I say this is gonna be Hora KO. We'll say 3rd round. I'm saying round 3. KO round 3. I could be way off on this, but that's just my feeling. I mean, I know Glover's fairly good at absorbing punches, so he's going to keep coming. And most of Hora's fights have been 2nd round, I think it is, knockout. He normally don't make it through the 2nd round often. So I think Glover is going to be able to take the punishment, get to that 3rd round, but then won't be able to take it in the 3rd round. So that's my thought. UFC 275, I think it's in Singapore if I remember right. Let me see. See if I can go back to the main page. Yep, Singapore. So, be fun fights to watch. We'll definitely have them on tomorrow after the dirt bike races. So, I'll be tuning in, and we'll have to reconvene. Maybe next week I'll do a recap of how I did. Got these wrote down so that way, hey, you can hold me to it. So, comment your thoughts of who you think's gonna win and stuff like that. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, check us out, whether this is on the podcast or if you're on YouTube. We'll also check out our social medias. As Amateur Life, we do the sports talk. I'm trying to add some more other things on the dock to do just to help push out more content. So if this is something you like, this is something you want me to continue to do, leave it in the comments and leave a review saying that, hey, keep the UFC going. I don't think I'll take this further unless I get a big following. I think for the UFC stuff, I probably wouldn't take it any further than just the main big cards. I don't think I would start doing the UFC Vegas. That's pretty much every weekend. There's not a big card. And then there's also Dana's Contender Series that they have, pretty much every weekend you can watch fight action. That's one good thing about the UFC is if you're a diehard UFC fan, there's like fights every single weekend. There's always something for you to watch and do. So, but for me, I'm just sticking to these big cards until I know some of the fighters and stuff again. And then once maybe, after this year of doing that, maybe then I can break down further. But plate's getting pretty full with doing all these. So we'll see what happens. But otherwise, peace out till next time.